watching QTV with the news. My name is Diana Sumbwe. In our headlines, the Energy Regulation Board ERB has announced an increase in fuel prices. Finance Minister Margaret Manakadwe says government will pay all outstanding VAT refunds of mining companies before the sales tax takes effect on 1st April 2019. And police in Livingstone have formally charged 2 Chinese nationals and 9 Zambians with various offences under the State Security Act, Penal Code and Firearms Act. And now the news in detail. The Energy Regulation Board ERB has announced an increase in fuel prices. Announcing the increase, ERB Board Chairman Raymond Pundu said the new petrol price will be 16 kwacha 06 kwacha per litre from 13 kwacha 75 ngwe. Diesel will now cost 14 kwacha 65 ngwe per litre from 12 kwacha 01 ngwe, with kerosene increasing to 11 kwacha 34 ngwe per litre from 8 kwacha 85 ngwe, while low sulfur gas will now cost 16 kwacha 94 ngwe per litre from 14 kwacha 30 ngwe. Mr. Pundu has attributed the increase in fuel prices to changes in the fundamentals that determine fuel prices. He says the key drivers for the price review are the international oil prices and the exchange rate of the kwacha against major trading currencies, especially the United States dollar. Mr. Mpundu states that the price review is based on the cost plus model used to determine fuel prices. He points out that since the last fuel adjustment on 12 February 2018, the price of petrol rose by 10 kwacha by 10.28% from an average of $74.94 per barrel in February 2018 to an average of $82.62 per barrel in August 2018. Mr. Mpundu further states that since the last price adjustment, the kwacha depreciated by 7.8% from a monthly average of 9 kwacha 89 ngwe per dollar in February to an average of 10 kwacha 67 ngwe per dollar in September 2018. He says the upward movement in the price of crude oil and prices of finished products on the world market, as well as the depreciation of the kwacha against the United States dollar, have resulted in an increase in the fuel importation bill for the current import consignment in kwacha terms, and Finance Minister Margaret Manakadwe has told Parliament that it is inevitable that the excessive depreciation of the kwacha may result in adjustment in the prices of goods and services and elevated levels of inflation. Government says it will pay all outstanding value-added tax VAT refunds to mining companies before the sales tax comes into force on 1st April 2019. Minister of Finance Margaret Manakadwe says all firms that owe and will owe government will also have to pay their tax dues during the transition period of the sales tax. Speaking during the Ernst & Young post-budget breakfast in Lusaka, Mrs. Manakadwe said she has since directed the Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA to do an audit on VAT refunds claims. Mrs. Manakadwe has also disclosed that the rebasing of Zambia's gross domestic product GDP, as prescribed in the 2019 national budget, will commence early next year. And Mrs. Manakadwe says all she needs from the International Monetary Fund IMF in view of the measures introduced in the 2019 national budget is a positive statement. The minister, who is next week expected to meet the IMF, believes that the Zambian government is on good footing, stating that all it needs is to continue doing the right thing to qualify for a financial bailout.
And this budget has removed a lot of administrative costs by government. To remove waste between 50 and 65% has been cut from ourselves, because we have said, let's start with ourselves. Now we're going to state-owned enterprises. They need to be contributing their fair share of government resources. We only had one state-owned enterprise making profit a few years, 5-7 years ago. Now we've got 8 that are actually declaring a dividend. Even Tazama Pipeline, after 50 years, gave me a dividend. That is what we want to happen in our state-owned enterprises for them to remove the inefficiencies and be able to contribute positively to this budget 2019 and beyond. And we're going to be reviewing each one of them. We're going to be bold about our decisions. Do we bring in an equity partner in this particular instance? Do we inject fresh capital ourselves as government? Or do we shut it down?
Meanwhile, ZRA Commissioner General Kingsley Chanda says the authority will engage Chambeshi Metals over the volume of cobalt and copper concentrates it has been importing. Mr. Chanda says that the ZRA wants to understand what the numbers really mean for the mining firm before it can address the issue with the Ministry of Finance. He states that the authority has been wondering why some mining firms that are paying 10% tax on exports of copper concentrates are not supplying to local smelters.
We will correct the impression that has also been created, because some of the mining companies are sending out their concentrates in raw form. So you have some mining companies importing concentrates for processing. You also have some mining companies that are exporting concentrates from Zambia to South Africa and South America. So probably what I may suggest, the Honorable, with your permission, is to engage Chambeshi Metals. I know they're importing a lot of cobalt and copper concentrates, and just understand what the numbers really mean to them, and then we can get back to the ministry at a later stage. But for now, this is a revenue measure, and also, we may need to understand exactly what the situation is, because we have exports of concentrates, and those mining companies that are exporting concentrates are paying, is it 10% or 15%? What is the rate? On exports of concentrates, 10%. They are paying 10% when they export, and we have been wondering why they can't, supply those concentrates to the local smelters.
Police in Livingstone have formally arrested and charged 2 Chinese nationals and 9 Zambians with various offences under the State and Security Act, Penal Code and Firearms Act respectively. Southern Province Police Commissioner Bonnie Kapeso says this means that Neo Zuchan, 37, owner of Warm Harbour Hotel in Livingstone, Zhu Zibu, 31, and Sethanian Mudenda, 36, director of Alert Security Company or of Livingstone, with 8 others will remain in detention until their matters are determined by the court of law. Mr. Kapeso says Zuchan has been charged with 2 counts of failing to secure a firearm and unlawful drilling, while his counterpart, Zibu, faces 2 counts of unlawful possession of firearm and unlawful drilling. He adds that Mudenda, the director of Alert Security Company, is charged with 3 counts of harboring unlawful drilling and unauthorized use of uniforms. Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya has disclosed that malaria-related deaths reduced by 50% in all ages between 2016 and 2017. Dr. Chilufya says despite the country recording a reduction in the number of malaria deaths over the years, there are still more interventions that need to be put in place to completely eradicate malaria by 2021. He says government takes health as a key economic investment, which shall spur the country to become a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030. Dr. Chilufya says the health sector has embraced a multi-sectoral approach in improving the health of citizens as articulated in the National Health Strategic Plan 2017 to 2021 and the National Malaria Elimination Strategic Plan 2017 to 2021, which are aimed at achieving universal health coverage for people across the continuum of healthcare. We have more details in this report.
Kansai Plascon has finally launched the first anti-mosquito paint in Zambia. The launch of the modified paint, which has the ability to remain on walls for about 2 years, offering lasting protection from malaria infection and other mosquito-borne diseases, is the first ever in Africa. Malaria spread by mosquitoes is a treatable disease if caught early, but current anti-malaria drugs are failing in many areas as people develop resistance to them. Speaking during the launch of the paint in Lusaka, Kansai Plascon Japan President Hiroshi Ishino is happy that the anti-malaria paint has been first launched in Zambia.
AMP yamene ndi anti-mosquito paint OMP Yamene the Africa's marvelous product. Moam bese sa Yamene Nakamba. Thank you very much. Well, Kansai Paint is a Japanese company with 127 operations across the globe. Kansai Paint also sponsored the world-famous football club Manchester United. The Plascon brand has been well known in South Africa for many years. 7 years has passed since Plascon joined Kansai Paint Group, and I feel quite emotional to hold this launch of a product that will benefit the people in Zambia and neighboring countries. As a matter of fact, Kansai Paint Group celebrates its 100th anniversary in May this year. So it is fitting for our group to start the new project in Zambia in this special year.
Minister of Health Dr. Chitalo Chilufya was represented by his Permanent Secretary and Local Government Minister Vincent Mwale. Dr. Chilufya, in a speech read on his behalf by his counterpart, disclosed that malaria-related deaths reduced by 50% in all ages between 2016 and 2017. However, more needs to be done.
Malaria is a major public health concern in this country, and I think we know this, all of us gathered in here, whereby the entire population is at risk, with children under the age of 5 and pregnant women being the most vulnerable. It is for this reason that eliminating malaria by 2021 is a priority of our government. The current malaria incidence in all ages reduced from 382 to 374 per 1,000 population, while malaria deaths have reduced by 50% in all ages comparing 2016 to 2017. Still very high. As a country, we have made significant progress over the years, as evidenced by the steady decrease in malaria illness and deaths. However, more needs to be done to accelerate progress towards elimination of this, and this calls for universal coverage with evidence-based high-impact malaria interventions, such as this one. These interventions include vector control, case management, monitoring, and research. With regards to vector control, currently we are undertaking indoor residue spraying, distributing of long-lasting insecticidal nets, and larval source management. Ladies and gentlemen, the Patriotic Front government encourages and is receptive to new innovations, which has potential to significantly contribute to the attainment of malaria-free Zambia by the year 2021. Hence, my excitement that Kansai Plascon anti-mosquito paint is being considered to be part of our vector control intervention.
Zambia aims to eradicate malaria by 2021, and Japanese ambassador to Zambia, Hidenobu Subashima, is hopeful that the initiative will significantly assist Zambia's efforts to eliminate malaria.
An anti-malaria paint study has been conducted to confirm the effects of the paints. I look forward to good news of the study, hoping that this initiative will significantly assist the efforts of Zambia to eliminate malaria. We believe that for Zambia to continue to achieve further development in a sustainable manner, strengthening of the health sector is important among other sectors. Therefore, the government of Japan intends to contribute to this process in cooperation with its private sector in various ways, including further introduction of high-quality medical technology of Japan, just like in this case.
Children are mostly at risk of getting malaria through mosquito bites, and they were not left out at this event where they spoke through this piece of entertainment. Nakaonga reporting for QTV News in Lusaka.
President Lungu's spokesperson Amos Chanda says the head of state is happy with the measures that the Bank of Zambia has put in place to address the movements in the United States dollar and Zambian kwacha relation. Mr. Chanda said President Lungu is satisfied that the volatility in the exchange rate is market-based and that the central bank is monitoring the situation. The president's spokesperson said the head of state has confidence that the central bank team will provide necessary mechanisms to oversee the exchange rate, market, and the economy. Mr. Chanda said President Lungu has since met Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Denny Kalyalia and wants the Reserve Bank and the Ministry of Finance to interface their roles of monetary policy and fiscal policy. And Mr. Chanda said President Lungu is happy with the pace and progress being made in the ongoing administrative inquiry relating to the social cash transfer. He said the president wants the investigative wings and law enforcement agencies to thoroughly do their part in order to provide necessary information to make a decision. Mr. Chanda said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has met with the donor community and assured them that investigations are going on well and will soon be concluded. He said government will proceed with disbursement of the funds to beneficiaries of the social cash transfer while donors await the conclusion of the investigations. The Movement for National Transformation MNT has advised the Patriotic Front government to recognize critical voices in evaluating its performance. MNT President Daniel Shimunza says that government can better address the economic challenges Zambia is in if it involves critical voices such as the opposition in finding solutions. Mr. Shimunza, however, states that if the Patriotic Front does not want to be criticized over the manner it has handled national affairs, it must as well leave government. In an interview with Q News, Mr. Shimunza says his party believes that in a democracy, the opposition must give checks and balances to government. Mr. Shimunza says it is therefore wrong for President Edgar Lungu to attack any opposition political party for criticizing his government over how the 2019 national budget has been structured. He states that if the president does not want the opposition to criticize the national budget, he should involve them in its formulation.
We have been on record saying that when we give and offer checks and balances to the ruling party and government, it is imperative that government begins to recognize the opposition political parties and voices that are critical, so that then it helps them to evaluate themselves and begin to make better incentives and solutions for the Zambian people. When the president is on record attacking opposition or critics of the budget together with the Minister of Finance, it's a very unfortunate development in a democracy. We should accept dissenting views and also that we are able to help government to make proper decisions that are well informed. And this is why if government does not want critics to critique their work, then they must be out of government, because in a democracy, the opposition should give checks and balances to what they are doing. And if they want to avoid criticism after they present a budget, they must involve us in the process of formulating policies and in the decisions for formulating budgetary incentives for the country.
About 20 workers are expected to be laid off at Lafarge Cement Zambia by the end of October as part of the company's restructuring. Confirming the development in an exclusive interview with Q News, Company Chief Executive Officer Vincent Bokart says the development is as a result of the increased competition on the market, which has come about mainly because of a Chinese mining company which has entered the market selling its cement at a much cheaper price. Mr. Bokart says the company has put in place restricting plans which will see some workers being declared redundant for it to continue being efficient and competitive. He has disclosed that the majority of the workers who will be affected are from the Chilanga plant. He states that the company currently has about 400 employees in Ndola and Chilanga. Mr. Bogart has, however, stated that the affected workers will be given all that is due to them, adding that the company has already communicated to them and has necessitated for cancelling sessions for them.
Yes, I can confirm that we have a restructuring plan that we want to start in the next weeks. We have informed our people. So, what is the reason? What is the issue? Maybe, as you are aware, we have more and more competition on the market with the new Chinese cement plant, which started to produce in July, with a strategy to sell very cheap cement. So, if we want to sustain our business and to continue to run as Lafarge in Zambia, we need to be very competitive. We did some restructuring plan 2 years ago, in 2015, mainly in the two plants, in Chilanga plant and in Ndola. So we consider that today we have the right number of people with the right skills in our two plants, but for the support function, we think that we have some opportunities to reduce the number of people to be more efficient. And with the help of the group, with some benchmark, we reviewed our processes, so only on support function, and with the new organization in sales, finance, logistic, HR team, we consider that if we want to sustain our business, we have to decrease our staff by 20 people. Yes.
Meanwhile, Mr. Bokart has clarified that the worker who was reported to have died on duty died as a result of a health condition and not as a result of an accident at work, as reported in some sections of the media. He said Lafarge Cement is committed to ensuring the safety of its workers while on duty.
Health and safety is our priority in Lafarge Cement Group. And in Zambia, we have a lot of initiatives to improve health and safety in our environment, in our plants, but also on the road with all our road safety initiatives. This time, it's not an accident. We have just had some information during the weekend. I don't know what we can share because we don't have the official report from the police. But it seems that it was a health issue, and Aaron, who is the people who died on duty, suffer some hurt. I don't know exactly what type of issue, but it was not an accident. And we are committed to improve safety on site and off site, and we are following some KPIs, and we can show you that the situation is improving. We know that it's a long journey, so it's never finished. But the situation is improving every month, every year in the Lafarge premises.
Born Short Living Tour BSLT Executive Director Ntalasha Chisha has appealed to President Edgar Lungu to appoint a commission to facilitate for the integration of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) into a comprehensive national action plan. Mr. Chisha says the commission can be chaired by the Minister of National Planning, who can be tasked with forming inter-ministerial committees and task forces that bring together representatives from all relevant ministries in order to ensure that all parts of government are engaged in and are proactive about the interrogation of SDGs in the National Development Plan. Mr. Chisha says he will write to President Lungu posing that a commission is formed with immediate effect. He has urged government to take action on the implementation of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) by integrating them in the existing development plans of the nation. Mr. Chisha says a failure to meet the SDGs will create a gap between Zambia and other countries. He has further urged members of parliament to forge partnerships with civil society, the private sector and others to implement and monitor progress of the SDGs.
We appeal to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia to appoint a commission to facilitate the integration of the SDGs in a comprehensive national action plan and promote the exchange of information and knowledge between stakeholders. The Commission should consult with all government agencies on how the SDGs fit into their respective fields. This Commission can be chaired by the Minister of National Planning, who can be formed with forming interministerial committees and task forces that bring together representatives from all relevant ministries to help ensure that all parts of government are engaged in and are proactive about the integration of the SDGs in the National Development Plan. This commission can also produce an analysis of existing gaps on SDG implementation. We will write to His Excellency the President, Mr. Edgar Chagwa-Lungu, proposing that a commission is formed with immediate effect. We urge government and members of parliament to forge partnerships with civil society, the private sector, and others to implement and monitor progress. Getting all parts of government and stakeholders to pull in the same direction and exploit synergies can help ensure that the SDGs are truly transformative. This way, as a nation, we will build a system of participatory monitoring to ensure accountability and follow-ups on the SDGs. Our organization will this month submit proposals to all the members of parliament and city mayors to see how we can partner and sensitize our communities about the SDGs.
Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection Minister Dennis Wanchinga says government is committed to improving access to water and sanitation through the implementation of policies and programs that are anchored on the Vision 2030 and 7th National Development Plan. And Mr. Wanchinga says that President Edgar Lungu is showing political will in improving water and sanitation in the country, as can be seen through the public movement he had created after involving the military in cleaning the environment, which has promoted behavioral change on hygiene among Zambians. Dr. Wanchinga says President Lungu has managed to instill a silent people's revolution movement and behavioral change regarding sanitation and hygiene among Zambians through the launch of the Clean Exercise of the environment every Saturday of the end of the month, a situation which has shown that the President's political will in the area of water and sanitation. Dr. Wanchinga said this when he made a presentation during the Mahatma Gandhi International Sanitation Convention in New Delhi, India.
Other achievements is the issue of mobilization of our people. We have rolled out a program in the communities of raising the conscience of the rural communities, so that they are able to recognize the importance of having toilets. And this program has been implemented in 72 districts. Out of 116, you might say maybe that's a low count, but in the last 2 years, the country has put in place new districts.
Grupos de saneamentos condominial.
The great experience that we are trying to bring in Angola is trying to promote condominium sanitation.
Porque tivemos a amarga experiência de movimentação de população de áreas com saneamento precário para áreas sociais.
And trying to make the movement from people from peri-urban areas to social housing also that has now with the sanitation provided.
Speaking at the same function, Angolan State Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Joaquim Manuel, said Angola spent a lot of resources on cholera and malaria, which gobbled about 400 million United States dollars last year. This is contained in a statement made available by the First Secretary, Press and Tourism at the Zambian mission in New Delhi, India, Bango Navile. Minister of Tourism and Arts Charles Banda is hopeful the project proposal by Seth James Group to invest in the Cassava Bay in Northern Province will be translated into an actuality. Speaking when Seth Mayowa, chairperson of the Nigerian group of companies, led a delegation to make a presentation of the proposed Cassava Bay Resort KBR, the minister said the company has shown seriousness. He says his ministry treats the proposal earnestly because the firm has shown its commitment by opening up an office in Lusaka. Mr. Banda has urged the would-be investors to live up to their promises, saying Zambia will become their investment.
In Zambia, your investment is very welcome. All we can ask for is for you to do the right thing and own up to the promises that you are going to make. Because this is a serious matter, in as far as we are concerned as a ministry. You can see I've brought all my directors here, meaning that what we are preaching to the world, we would like to yield the actual results on the ground. I'm happy you came the first time just to come and see. You went, we didn't know that you actually come back as you promised, and you have come back at least with something in the bag to show us the way forward. One good thing that I've liked about it is that you have even established an office in Lusaka as an anchoring point as you look at the possible areas where you want to invest. That to us, I think that is a sign good enough that you are serious with what you want to do. I just want to encourage you to ensure that some of these things that you are going to show us can be done. Then the sky is very open. The investment in Zambia is plenty for those that have got the capacity, the competence, and the skills. That is what matters most. Otherwise, you are very welcome.
And Mr. Mayowa says the project is designed to be located on approximately 500 hectares of land and was born out of the growing need to develop the tourism industry in the northern province of the country. He says the opportunity will be harnessed to bring recreational tourist sites to the Nsumbu district. Mr. Mayowa says the project will be developed in 2 phases, starting with the building of a 3-star and budget hotel, as well as an amusement park.
Maintain the structure the way it was right from time. Some are even destroyed or demolished, but we can put them back up so that when people come here, they understand what's going on here from day one. So we were really excited. You know, we drank the water, we got into it. In fact, I was so excited I pulled off my clothes and just jumped into the lake. When I came out, the ranger ran and said, crocodiles actually come to this extent. So, but I mean, we're excited. It's a beautiful scene. I just thought this morning when I got here, I would have just put up some of the pictures, you know, that, and if we have a little break, maybe 5 minutes, I would love to put up some of these pictures of the great, beautiful place. We slept in the Sumbu park, the park there, in the lodge there.
There's this small lodge there, and it's beautifully done. You know, it's very small, but it's nice. It's one of the, I'm not exaggerating, it's one of the best places I've seen in the world. And I've been to every continent. I've been to tons of countries, I can't even count them. But to be honest, not because of the sake of this project, even if I'm not going to be involved in this project, this should come to be. And that's why we've come up with a huge project where we should have everything. And
The Economic and Equity Party EEP has threatened to report Water Development Permanent Secretary Eddie Chomba to the police over allegations that he has fake professional qualifications. EEP President Chilufa Tayali says his party is now tired of waiting for Bishop Chomba to publicize his PhD amidst reports that the university he claims to have obtained the doctorate from has disowned him. Mr. Tayali states that Bishop Chomba should not think the issue of his professional qualifications would die a natural death. Mr. Tayali has told QTV News that the bishop should be wary that it is a crime for anyone to obtain a job in the civil service with fake qualifications.
Masumba was sent to jail for fake qualifications. It's a crime to have fake qualifications. So that man should not think that he's safe. He should not think that he's clever. One day, I've given enough. We are giving him enough chance for him to bring out this. If he doesn't, it means he doesn't have. We will go to the police and we will push the police to act. If he has them, he will have to bring them to court to show his innocence. He shouldn't think that this thing is going to end. It's not going to end. We cannot have public servants who are fake with fake qualifications. We can't have it. It is very bad for people who are qualified, who are busy working very hard in lower positions. You are superintending over very highly qualified people, and you are a fake person. Is that okay? It's not okay. We can't accept that.
To end the news, we take a look at stories making headlines. The Energy Regulation Board (ERB) has announced an increase in fuel prices. Finance Minister Margaret Manakatwe says government will pay all outstanding VAT refunds to mining companies before the sales tax takes effect on 1st April 2019. And police in Livingstone have formally charged 2 Chinese nationals and 9 Zambians with various offences under the State Security Act, Penal Code and Firearms Act. On that note, we come to the end of the news. From me, Diana Sumbre. Thank you for watching.